Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how are you today? Well, in today's video, we're going to discuss something that's across the pond, and it's in Australia. Yeah, so Homestead House. Let me know if you are still dealing with this, because this article was just sent to me just the other day. And I'm sorry I haven't responded to very many emails, but as you all know, that Sean and I went and we visited with our son and saw him graduate from Parris Island. He is now a Marine! Hoorah! Anyway, I'm going to also include some video clips at the end of this video, okay, so you can see what the people of Sydney, Australia are dealing with. If they're still dealing with it, I'm not quite sure. But this article was posted on March 26th of this year. So, but with what they're dealing with, I don't think that this is going to end anytime soon. I really don't. These poor people, I feel so bad for them. What this is being described as the worst mice plague they have ever seen. Millions of rodents descended on Eastern Australia. Yeah. Now, we have heard and we have seen, if you've ever been to New York City, okay, rats, right? But this is, holy cow. So, after one of its worst wildfire seasons and a global pandemic, right? Australia is now facing its latest end of days challenge, a monumental plague of mice. Like Tom and Jerry type, right? Millions of rodents are running amok in parts of Australia's eastern states, with residents sharing horror encounters on a daily basis. With an epicenter in rural New South Wales, farmers have uploaded videos to social media of mice blanketing their land, damaging crops, and taking up residence inside their homes. Wow. So there are some videos, and I will attach them to the end of this video, like I said, okay, so you can see for yourself. Now, Guy Roth, who works at a sprawling University of Sydney research farm near New South Wales in a town called Narrabri, Narrabri, said mice have overtaken the property. I know we had 2 mice per square meter in our cropping paddocks at the peak. So if I have the math right, it's about 20 million mice. Wow. That's more mice than the population of most big cities, he says. Roth said at one point, he and his family were catching and disposing of around 100 mice each day in their house and in their offices. They're all around the house. Every time you open up a drawer, you're potentially going to find one, he said. You'll be sitting at a desk and a mouse will just run across. He said the mice were eating all the cotton crops as well as the grain stored in the silos. He also said he has spent his whole life in regional and rural Australia. Said this was the worst mice plague he's ever seen, and they certainly smell. And that's what my memory of this is going to be. They smell, he says. The smell of dead mice in and around the house and the farm. Wow, yeah, I can't imagine that stink. While the health impact on humans has not been severe, there has been at least one report, the rare mouse-related illness lymphocytic. I'll spell that out. lymphocytic, And then the second word to this illness, choriomeningitis, choriomeningitis. And at least 3 people have been bitten by mice in New South Wales hospitals while they were admitted for non-mice related issues. So these mice are actually also in the hospitals. They're getting bit by mice while in the hospitals. Holy cow. That's really scary if you think about it. A spokesman for the state government health department, NSW Health, said these bites were minor and appropriate treatment has been provided. What is the treatment for a mouse bite? I don't even know. NSW Health staff are responding with appropriate control measures. The spokesperson said listing measures including increased baiting and trapping, odor repellents, and blocking access. Yeah, but how? How would you trap all of that? There's not enough traps and cheese in the world to trap 20 million mice. I mean, seriously. I mean, you can call all the pest control companies in the world and, you know. The spokesperson added the current mice or mouse infestation across western NSW is a natural occurrence. If this is a natural occurrence, then you would think that they would be used to something like this, but I don't think so at all. So what's causing the plague? Steve Henry conducts mice research with Australia's national science agency, the Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organization. Henry said the outbreak, which is of the non-native house mouse, is monumental and continues to have severe economic and social effects. Some farmers are giving up on summer crops, and that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt their pockets because the mice have damaged them so severely that that's essential to total crop loss. Yeah. Total. And in some scenarios where farmers have managed to get the crops through to harvest, they've had it rejected because it's full of mouse caca. Geez, but he said mice plagues can come around every 5 to 10 years in Australia due to a combination of factors. Australia deals with this every 5 to 10 years, but yet in another sentence they said that this was monumental. It's almost like contradiction. We've had a run of dry years, and now the drought has essentially broken. So the mice get switched on to that change in environmental conditions, and they start to breed, he said. And the farmers they've had a good crop, and that puts a lot of food into the system. So you've got favorable climatic conditions, favorable food in the system, lots of good shelter, lots of moisture. And he said mice are prolific breeders, as they can start to breed when they're about 6 weeks old. Wow, I didn't know that. And then they can have a litter of 6 to 10 pups every 19 to 21 days after that. Holy cow. But Henry said a mice plague typically ends abruptly with a population crash. Although it is difficult to predict when this will occur. Wow. Farmers in a plague-hit area are now looking toward the winter crops, which in this part of the southern hemisphere are typically sown in April and May. The industry group NSW Farmers have grave concerns that some farms will lose all the planted seed to the mice. NSW Farmers President James Jackson said there needs to be urgent action from the state government, including emergency permission to use the pesticide zinc phosphide and financial assistance through a small grants program. Mouse control is very costly. The severity of the current plague has resulted in the need for multiple aerial and ground bait applications in cropping regions. Action is needed now, he said. Geez. According to the group, heavy rainfall over recent days has curbed mice numbers in some areas, but they are still rampant in the central west and northwest of NSW. I'm hearing the rain has pushed more of them into the houses and vehicles, the group's spokesperson Michael Burt said. But for now, Australians like Roth are left hoping the plague comes to a quick end. Everyone's tolerating it, but we've had enough of it, he said. Yeah, can you imagine just being in your house, sitting at your desk or like either dinner table and just... I wouldn't be able to handle that. Not at all. I think I would go nuts. I would go absolutely ballistic, insane. I think everybody should get a house cat. Seriously. I mean, isn't that nature taking course? Maybe not. I don't know. But, I mean, seriously, think about it. I mean, I would never want anything, because that's, Mother Nature. I don't want anything to ever happen to God's creations, God's little creatures. But, Jesu. I mean, that, if it's as monumental as they say it is, and it's literally hurting the farmers, which is hurting their pockets, there's got to be something that can be done. There's got to be. All right, guys, I love you. I'll see you in the next one. You stay safe, stay calm, stay positive, keep prepping, and as always, fearless.